afternoon, ladies and gents. For all those who don't know me, I'm Ben Taylor, best man number 2, apparently. I have to say, to start with, it's a true honour to be Weggy's best man, or at least one of them. However, I do say that every silver lining has a cloud, and for me this speech has definitely been that. So cheers, son, I appreciate it. In all honesty though, I can't put into words how special I feel and how honoured I am to be a part of your day. And so I thank you both for that. I'd also like to thank you and congratulate you on behalf of everyone for making us all take the day off work. I must say at this moment that Amy has warned me that there's a mixture of ages in attendance today, and so anything crude or there'll be no sexual innuendo involved in my speech. I did agree that were there anything of that nature, including anything of huge length, I would whip it out immediately. I was going to start by saying how fantastic Amy looked, and of course the bridesmaids. But in going last of 4 speeches, I've sort of been beaten to it. So instead I'd like to say how fantastic everyone else looks. In knowing most of you, cheesy. In knowing most of you already, I'm actually really surprised, and I can't believe how well we all screw up. So give yourselves a round of applause. Yes, Wegg, you look lovely. In all honesty though, I don't think it can be said enough times how amazing Amy does look today. And I do know that Wegg agrees because he told me outside earlier. When Wegg asked me and Phil if we would be his best men, we both smiled at each other with huge joy and pride. Phil beamed at me, and I beamed back at him in the fair, ecstatic in the knowledge that the pair of us were going to be part of the biggest day in Wegg's life. His stag do. But before I go into that, I'd like to give anyone who doesn't know him too well a little bit of pre-Amy background information on himself. Sir Christopher James Wegg was born on Saturday the 7th of June 1986. A day that will live in infamy forever for his mum and dad. See, I did a little research on that day, and it turns out that that day almost 27 years ago, absolutely jack shit else happened. God, he's boring. I'm sure that's just because the rest of the world was waiting for you. I honestly can't tell you much else between then and the age of 5, which is when me and the lad himself first met. But I can say that since then we've never looked back. I'd like to say that I took pity on Wegg at that age, but again, I'd be lying. See, the two of us, we just sort of became mates. However, I couldn't really speak for the rest of the lads, so what I thought I'd do is I'd look back again. See, personally, I always thought that our Wegg was a bit of a smart ass, shall we say. And it turns out that he is. See, one day when we were kids, we were playing footy over the field, and a few of the lads having a kick about, and Masha's dad was there. And as it happened, Weggy was such a smart ass at that age, about 10-year-old, that Masha's dad decided he'd knock his 2 front teeth out. How it's never happened since is nothing short of an It wasn't really... It wasn't really until the age of 11 and in secondary school that Weggy got too many more mates. Believe it or not, he was a popular lad during this time. All the lads wanted to be Weggy's mate. Now I never really understood why, and I'm sure nobody else can either. Believe it or not, it wasn't because of his striking good looks. I mean, look at him. Look at him. And no, it wasn't because of his quick wit. And as he'll tell you himself, nobody wanted to copy his whole work. The real reason, and he knows this himself, that everyone wanted to be his mate was because we all fancied his mum. Apart from Costello, who fancied his dad. So I'd just like to thank you for sitting me next to her today. As we got older, we had a few loves over the years. Computer games obviously occupied a huge amount of our teenage years. Believe it or not, we used to play football, tennis, we even used to go to the gym. Obviously, it doesn't happen anymore. But as we got older, our interests changed.
I feel like doing.
As we got older, our interests changed. The pair of us and all the lads found a couple of new loves. Girls and booze. Now, it's probably best that I address the two of these separately. I'll go with girls first. There were some. That'll do. Secondly, booze. There's been a lot. And not just today. But as we reached legal age, us lads developed quite a thirst. It became quite clear quite quickly that some of us were better drinkers than others. Weggy was, and still is, one of the others. See, I could tell you hundreds of stories about drunken antics and whatnot, but unfortunately, our Weggy only features in about half of his life. I know he's wrote this. Not loads. The thing is about Wegg is once he gets to the point where he can't drink anymore, he only does three things. He sings, he shouts, regardless of where he is, and then he goes to sleep. Again, regardless of where he is. One of the first times I realised this happened was a standard Friday or Saturday night. We popped for a few in the Stockton Arms as we did at the time, and then we made the usual trip to Shea Bar Zanzibar, as we did at the time. Afterwards, Wegg and Phil came back to mine as my parents were away. We were in no fit state to drink anymore, so I headed to bed. Not together. I put Weggy in my stepbrother's bed, but before he was ready for Kip, he had a few things to discuss. Mainly, the borrower's current form. Now, I can't remember exactly what it was, so I'm not sure how we were doing, but it was almost certainly. So he had his say, he sang a few songs, and then, still in my stepbrother's bed, proceeded to beat up our midfield enforcer, George Boateng. Obviously, later, George turned out to be a pillow, but the sentiment was there, wasn't it? Through hysterical laughter, Phil and myself decided we should probably film this. And so, if you'd like to turn your attention to the next screen.
Yeah, we don't tell.
I couldn't do it. But yeah, before we could actually film it, he'd gone to sleep. That's his best trick, you see, when he's had a few. It's not just his ability to sleep anywhere, but it's how soundly he will actually sleep. I look back to his 21st birthday, for an example of this. We celebrated it the Saturday after, if I remember, in the Stockton Arms. I had a prior engagement, so I turned up a couple of hours late. It was only about 9:30, 10:15, early to most people. But even by this time, the birthday boy's clearly sung a few of his favourites. And yes, you guessed it, he was asleep. 10 o'clock on his 21st birthday, in the middle of the Stockton Arms.
Well, this is true, by the way.
So look forward to your birthday, baby. And in a lovely, perfect round way, it's his inability to handle his drink that brings me back to the stag do. See, the night he asked me in front of my best man, Weggy had requested a quiet affair. Obviously, getting what he wants all the time, Weggy said to ensure that he got what he wanted this time, he wasn't renewing his passport. How did that work out? After much deliberation between ourselves, running out of time, we decided to head for 3 nights in Edinburgh. Obviously, we convinced Wegg he didn't need his passport for this, and then decided to go and see the Premier League darts in Glasgow. The Thursday, we went to the darts, no problem for everyone apart from me. I managed to lose my phone and most of my costume, but all in all, it was a success. We took 16 Englishmen for a night out in Glasgow and returned relatively unscathed. It wasn't until a Friday that things started to get, shall we say, interesting. Without going into too much detail, Mr Wegg's inability to drink shone through. By 1 AM, the lad himself was being carried, and I'm not using that term lightly, he was carried back to his apartment by myself and Clarky. He got through his singing and shouting on the way, and so all I had to do was chuck him on his bed. Thinking it was over, me and Clarky popped out, got a bite to eat, welcomed the rest of the lads back to the apartment, and ended up to sleep ourselves. Next thing I knew, fella here wakes me up, screaming and shouting, "Lads, the plan's backfired! He's pissing in the wardrobe!" I, for one, could clarify was over the moon. When I walked into my bedroom and found the stag himself pissing all over my shirt. Oh, it was good. See, the thing was, Phil had neglected to mention, even though he's put it in his speech, that Wendy's picked up a new trick over the years. He doesn't just go to sleep anymore. Quite clearly, he went to bed as well. So if I haven't said it already, Amy, look forward to your wedding night.
Sorry, they've got protection.
All in all, though, I have to say that he's carried himself really well over the course of the 4 days. To say that he gathered together 20 of his so-called mates and was given no choice about what he drank or did for the whole time we were away, I think he did very well, so. I hope you enjoyed yourself, because I know the rest of us did. Possibly the best thing to come out of the stag do was getting a lot of the lads back together in the same group for a good drink and a really good laugh. See, we don't spend a huge amount of time together anymore. Some of us are grown up. Getting married, having babies, buying houses, all that shit. And some of us are me. But it's a good term growing up, and I think Weggy is a perfect example of that. See, looking back, and I think you'll agree, he was probably the least likely of any of us to get married. If not, he was the least likely of any of us to find someone to marry him. But he's done it, and when he did it, I have to say, and he'll agree with me on this, that as soon as I saw the two of them together, I pretty much knew they were meant.